I was just going to tell you that, Joe, and you beat me to it.
Yep, I just turned the recording on.
Yeah.
Joe, I got to listen to last week's because of the recording, and it was really good. So you have at least one person who's used it.
Yeah, I haven't checked to see how many people are actually viewing it.
But it was really nice, and it was a great discussion last week. First of all, there was John's amazing pictures. Oh, it was about the frame fitting. Is that what it's called? Where you the program actually figures out where you are in the sky.
Oh, plate solving.
Plate solving, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting quite common. I'm not using it the way most people use it. Most people are using it in automated environments where you tell it what object you want, and then it goes and finds it, and it confirms it. And if there's a meridian flip, and if your mount doesn't fare well with that, it'll actually do another plate solve to get you back to where you were.
Interesting.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah, I'm not in that world yet. I'm trying to get there. I mean, I'm missing some pieces still, so I'm still waiting for pieces to come in.
Some people would call it cheating.
It could be, or it could mean that you're saving sleep, I guess. Though I don't know if I would trust leaving my equipment out. I mean, I'm not on a fenced property or anything like that. Actually, for any of you who have been out, have you noticed how much wildlife is out there actually? Like the times that I've been out, though it's been kind of a weird hours, but
You mean deer?
yeah, so many. I can't believe
Lots of.
so many. I'm in and around Saanich and Oak Bay, and there's tons of them.
Our garden knows all about that.
They sneak up on you too. I was out, I don't know, in the middle of the night, I forget when. And I thought it was a person. And then I looked around, and right behind me, like within an arm's grasp, this deer had walked up to me.
Yeah, they're traffic savvy deer. They know not to move too fast.
You probably just wanted to have a look through your telescope.
I know, I should do more outreach.
Deer reach. I don't know.
I wish we all could.
You see that story in the TC with a lady looking out and thinking some dog was lying on her deck, and it wasn't a dog.
There's a cougar.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She went down to look at the nose and discovered it was not a dog.
Oh, you're not a dog.
That's what she said.
They don't growl or roar. They sound like a squeaky toy when they're meowing or whatever they're doing.
That'd be kind of a shock, wouldn't it?
Well, I like to think I wouldn't be fooled, but who knows?
Yeah, well, it depends if in the dim light, you know, you just kind of look out and think, oh yeah, where'd you come from? Oh.
Yeah, deer and then raccoons, of course.
Yeah.
Deer and raccoons.
I had a couple of deer in my little wee yard last year, and just a few weeks either before or after, we had a cougar on our condo property that was treed by some conservation officers' dogs, and so it was all in the news. It was I was away on my bike at the time, but it was pretty exciting.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess that's good.
David, I'm processing my Comet data now. You know,
Oh,
I really stay up to date on this kind of stuff.
They're like me.
are you just doing the head with streaked stars, or are you doing the whole thing?
I'm doing the Pix Insight thing, and it's working fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm discovering things I wish I would have done differently at the time. But that's always normal.
Is
I'm
it
trying to, I'm trying to remember the procedure. You kind of integrate everything on the Comet, and then do you use like a median to get rid of all the stars?
I don't know. It's a program that does it. You know, Pix Insight does all that.
Okay. Must be doing some kind of median to get, well, it knows where the stars are, right? So then it goes, picks the stars off.
Yeah. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, I'll be able to show the cafe here what I've done.
That'll be
Oh,
great.
Can you show the process, Gary?
Say again?
Are you going to show the process of how you went from raw photo to the final?
I could, but David's already done that, I thought.
Well, it wasn't me. There's other people on the net that have done it.
Yeah, for sure, other people have done it. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
did
just
it
don't.
live,
I don't
for
recall
sure.
the technique.
What's that?
I don't
What's that
totally
mean?
recall the technique. There's a couple of ways of doing it.
Yeah, yeah. For sure.
There's a cheating way of doing it as well,
Oh, is
aside
that
from
right?
the
Oh, I don't know.
aside from the more intricate Pixin site.
Well,
way.
actually, the Pix Insight couldn't get much easier. It's pretty good. I could run through it for people if you want. So yeah, it'll be good.
Is anybody still following the Comet?
I haven't
Or
tried.
is it pretty well. I guess Bill Weir and his big dog. He probably has a better chance. And
Well, it's pretty hard, isn't it? Getting really close to the horizon around.
It's close to the horizon, and
yes.
it's still kind of close to the muck, because most of the time the seeing, obviously the seeing's not that great near the horizon line, so your chances are heavily diminished.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The competition.
Competition, yes.
I thought it was a brilliant idea, but he said he wanted it to last for a year. Nathan wants it to last for a year. Like, what? I don't think so, huh?
Well, I think it was more just optimistic. He's pretty optimistic.
Okay, good.
You never know.
Maybe he's buying time on the Hubble.
But yes, that's right. I was just thinking Hubble.
Who knows? That kid may end up doing something like that someday.
Oh, I believe it. Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, he's impressive. There's Marjorie.
I was trying to figure out why I had no video. Of course, I had myself closed off.
Yes.
So did I. I had this handy dandy piece of tape over my camera. I couldn't figure out for the life of me why it wasn't working.
Remove the tape.
Gary, when he held the piece of tape up, we saw the tour of the galaxy.
Yeah, I saw that. That's kind of cool. You can see.
Yeah, it vanishes and whatever.
Oh right. Go in. Oh, that's
There you go.
that's all.
Also, if you move your hands really fast, they disappear too. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah. But you know, the most famous person that has his camera taped over is Mark Zuckerberg.
And that's where I got the idea. I said, if it's good enough for Mark, it's good enough for me.
And he has a second piece of tape which he puts over his microphone.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that. Yeah.
Just coming up on 7:30, but we'll wait for see if a few more people are going to show up. Welcome everyone. We'll just carry on idle chit chat.
So, speaking of idle chit chat, I've come to love drift alignment. Like, you can get pretty seriously accurate alignment with drift alignment, I've discovered. Holy smokes.
Just takes time.
Yeah, it does take, but you know what? It only takes maybe 20 minutes to
Yeah.
do a really good job. Like, it's astounding how well you can get it, you can do it.
Is that what you're doing now, Gary?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Because you take your live view and zoom right into the star as far as you can.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big blob, and you can see it move instantly. And pretty soon you can just tweak it here and there till the thing just stays right there. It's quite astounding how well it works. So I'm pretty happy about that.
So you more or less just point your mount to Polaris, and then you pick a star on the opposite side, right?
No, no, not at all.
Isn't that how you do it?
You get it roughly aligned to Polaris. You're over there now. You get it roughly aligned to Polaris. You then point it straight up, and if the mount starts going, if the star starts going up, you twist the mount to the left or the right, as the case may be, and pretty soon that'll stop moving. Then you take your telescope, put it right over to the horizon, and if it starts going up, you raise the front. And by just those few little actions, you can have it set up really, really quickly and very accurately.
So you're making adjustments to azimuth and altitude using
Exactly.
those techniques, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you first
And
aim
very-
it at
very
a
small
star on the zenith or the meridian, the central meridian, and then you watch whether it drifts up or down. That tells you whether to go left or right, and you
That's
just
right.
move it about halfway back to where it was, and then you pick one on either the eastern or western horizon and watch where that star goes, and then you adjust your altitude halfway. And if you do that twice, you can get pretty damn close.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yep, yep. It's pretty amazing.
But you need to drift it for about 3 or 4 minutes anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty cool.
You can do that with a crosshair eyepiece in your primary optics.
But works better if you use a DSLR and live view, because they could do
That
very,
that
very,
would magnify a fair bit, yeah.
You could put a grid up on your screen as well.
yep, for sure. You do. Yep.
Joe, this is what I get when I put a virtual background on.
Oh,
Nice dress.
oh,
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
oh, and you have a grill.
That's cool.
You're a secret vampire.
Yeah, diamond tooth.
Is there a way to fix it?
I think you have to shine a light in your mouth or something. Wow.
Actually, I think it is lighting of some kind.
You got the
but
whitest
I-
teeth.
That's great.
yeah,
How about that?
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
It's
no.
using an algorithm to detect where you are in focus, and quite weird. I was admiring you sort of had a thing over your head here. Well, I can do the same thing by just doing this. Yeah, it's weird.
Or there's the San Francisco Bridge.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's the Golden Gate.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we'll just go for now.
Trying to do
Okay,
a
it's
virtual
fine now. Oh, I have
background,
to pull.
and it caused her
I have
hair
no idea.
all shimmery, and it looked like she was wearing a sky for a gown, and it's weird. Nobody's ever seen.
Okay.
Yeah, about the only thing I can suggest is make sure you have lots of lighting, but it looks like you already do. So I don't know what else to suggest.
You're back to regular programming now.
I still want a background. But
You have to,
It's a
you have to
fun
see if you can make it.
Zoom meeting.
Maybe try sitting in a different spot or a different room or something like that. See if it works better.
Maybe
I have
more
tried
light
that
on the,
too.
Margie, maybe more light on your front as opposed to the big bright light in the back,
ah,
I think.
Yeah.
I think that should do it, actually. I'm actually front lit. I have an umbrella in front of me.
Yeah.
So I'm actually just front lit.
Okay, well, there you go. Let's see if it works now.
I have an alt light, so.
Well, that's better.
That looks fine, Margie.
Oh, that looks good. Oh,
Oh, but it still
Now
doesn't.
you're all lit up again.
That's a nice effect, by the way. No, it didn't help.
apparently not.
Well, maybe more light in front, who knows?
Okay.
You
That's
all
very
sound
good.
like you're all lit at the moment.
oh, poor Margie.
I know. See, Margie, see, the part that showed up was your black dress. So whatever you want it to be replaced has to be dark. That's the way it
Sounds
has
like a good theory.
Okay, well, there's 24 people here. I think we should get started. Welcome to another Astro Cafe via Zoom. Hope everybody is keeping well. We have a few people who had wanted to show some things tonight. So Marji, are you ready to give this a
Sure.
try and introduce what you found?
So I will share the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. And I need my desktop because that's where it is.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, desktop share.
Oh, there you are.
Here we see your browser.
There we go.
I don't think anything's, we're still seeing the Safari window at the moment. So maybe,
All
and then
right.
we're seeing your inbox.
Oh,
Maybe try minimizing your, there we are. It was there for a second, now it's gone.
is it there now?
Well, we're still seeing Safaris in front. So if you can, what are you showing it on the player thing there? So if you
Can you
make
see
that,
it now?
I think the window's there, but it's not highlighted. There it is.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Ah, there we go.
That's it.
that's
All
it.
right. I don't know whether I can make it larger or not.
That's good the way it is.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if the green button would make it any bigger or not.
Ah, there we go. All right, here we go. Perspective. It's called Perspective. 209 seconds of perspective.
Not very good green. Don't move it.
I see a blue ball.
Something's wrong, Margie. It's not changing for us.
I think it froze, Margie. Oh, now it's trying to catch up.
There you go. Good one.
Oops. There you have it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
A little jumpy.
Share.
Yeah.
There.
Well, unfortunately, it's having a bit of trouble with Zoom keeping up with it, but that was neat. Maybe you could send the link to where you found that to Joe, and maybe we can add that to the webpage, or Reg.
Okay.
If people would like to see it just all the way
A bit
through.
slower.
Yeah. Yeah, it shows you that I guess the resources we're getting to push that through just aren't high enough for a video of that, I guess that level anyways. Great, well, thank you. Any comments or?
Yeah, it sets your perspective up a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It sure does.
I thought they should have started with the size of the coronavirus, and then they could have worked up from there.
Yeah.
Puts the pandemic in perspective anyway.
It does.
Yeah, we're gonna all go.
Yeah. Okay, Randy, I believe you had a couple of items.
Sure. So we have so many experienced astronomers and especially astrophotographers. Some of you may know that I'm not particularly focused on deep space, partially because I live under streetlights, but I was on holiday and I could see the Milky Way, and I have my Explorer of the Universe book. I haven't actually started doing any official observations to that project as I'm working on Isabel Williamson. But I decided to see if I could see the Andromeda galaxy, and the answer is absolutely. How do I make this move? Come on, there we go. So for everybody that doesn't already know, you take Cassiopeia and you use this as a pointer, and you've got this, I don't know, I think of it as a kind of an open hockey stick, but they're the 4 bright stars of Andromeda, and there's this kind of belt here where you go from one bright star to this middling star, and then there's the fuzzball, which I could convince myself that I could see with naked eye. But then I brought with me this little 3-inch, it's called a first scope, that I bought for, I don't know, for $50 from some father who tried to get his son interested in astronomy, and they looked through it twice and then he didn't want to see it again. And in that, I have my very nice 5mm Ultima Duo that I bought from Quirky Science. And it has a built-in T-ring, so I was able to attach my mirrorless camera to it. So it's actually, it was able to pick up the galaxy, but I could see it naked, not naked eye, I mean bare eye. With the telescope, I could easily see that it was a fuzzball. So that was my first sighting of a galaxy. So it's a happy event. Anyway, this is a 30-second exposure, 26,500 ISO, and then I also pushed it in processing. Here it is with a 10-second. And so then where am I? So I wonder if I could do this with plate solving, is it called? But I ended up just getting at stellarium and trying it at different scales. I had no idea how big that dot was with respect to what a proper image of M31 would look like. And there you go. That I found this very instructive. And then I, with Stellarium, I picked up the magnitude. So I'm seeing 10, 11, even a few smaller stars. So I'm doing a flash back and forth. That's my 30-second image and the Stellarium image. So every star was very easy to identify. And it was, you know, this is not a picture that Gary would be proud of. I know that.
Hey, Randy, for your first picture, you should be proud of it. This is awesome.
It was mostly just seeing it in the eyepiece and saying, wow, that is not a star. That is a, you know, that's what Herschel was looking for, was just the fuzzballs. And it was a very clear fuzzball.
That's nice, Randy. But you know, at our DAO star parties on good nights, we could point out Andromeda just by eye at 1x. And even from our porch in light polluted Gordon Head, I'm not sure where you live, it's so bright when you know how to find it. And now you know how to find it. So if you're under a street light, go out from under a street light. I mean, get blocked from it and see if you can't just see it within a block of wherever you live. I'm not sure where you live. Okay, well, John could probably direct you. I think probably from the community center where we used to meet out in the park if you get away from the lights on a good night with no clouds. Anyway.
So you guys can actually convince yourself, even if you can't see the Milky Way, you can still see Andromeda?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
When we were out looking at the comet from Telegraph Cove, I was able to take people that had come down to look at the comet and point them to Andromeda, and they could see it naked eye.
Wow, good deal.
Now, Chris, I have another thing to show off. Should I keep going?
Yeah, might as well, please.
Okay, well.
Hey, Randy, that light's 2.6 million years old.
I know. An auspicious event occurred this weekend with Enkin's Daily Moon. I reached Moon 2000. So I started, well, I don't remember when I started. I started, if we take a look at this, I started in 2014, so it's 6 years. It's exactly 6 years that I've been going with Enkin's Daily Moon. I take a break every once in a while, and I certainly did after 999. I started with Moon 001. I don't know why I gave it 3 digits. I had no idea that I was going to go on this long. And so I, every day, more or less, I post an image of the moon, and you just go to Facebook and like Enkin's Daily Moon, and you can see these. Anyway, so one of the projects I did while I was up at Nanoose Bay is I took a selection from the last 1,000. I also did this for the first 1,000, and my very first Astro Cafe, presentation, I showed the similar thing from the first 1,000, but I have placed the moon in the same position, and I've gone through a whole lunation. So here we are in the crescent, and you will recognize things like a Ouija board, or here are some pub signs. We're up to a quarter moon. We're now at a gibbous. There's lots and lots of full moons, just because people provide me good full moons. There's Moon and Raven. And we're on the full moon still. These were quilts of moons. And so, you know, I might do a week with giraffes, and I might do a week with a certain artist, and then I'll do a week of a conjunction with Venus. We're still on the full moon. That's the Virtual Moon Museum, which I saw in Toronto. We're getting gibbous, waning gibbous. Now we're at the last quarter. That's David's picture of the Mars coming out from behind the moon. This is colder. Many aspects of the moon. And we're getting near the end. And we end with the eclipse. Sorry, it went pretty fast at the end. Let's see if that very last picture. I'll make it pause on that. You gonna pause? Come on, you can do it. Oh well, I'll drag it here. There we go. So yeah, I actually started at 1000 with the eclipse. So that was, is it 3 years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Not too long ago.
So it took me 3 years, which makes sense for the next 1000.
Those are awesome. Some of those are worth being on your wall as a picture, you know.
That's wonderful, Randy. Love it.
So
Great slideshow.
that video is also available on Enkin's Daily Moon if you want to see it again.
Okay, good.
That's wonderful.
Excellent, excellent, totally excellent.
It's a fun hobby.
That's yeah, great.
I would say thanks, Randy. It's nice to see you move into a galaxy too. That's really cool. So we'll have to have Enkin's Daily Galaxy once you get to the moon.
You know, I bet you could keep that going for a long time too.
There's a couple trillion of them, yeah.
Yeah. Very good. I forgot to ask at the beginning if anybody else had anything to share and hadn't already said anything, because those were the two, I think, people who asked.
I have something, Chris, if there's time at the end.
Yeah, and certainly we've got a fair amount on the Astro Cafe page today, Reg. I assume you're interested in giving that a review.
Maybe we should go with John first.
Sure, because there's quite a lot from Edmonton this week, isn't there? Yeah, so John, would you like to present?
Well, I can. I was just going to show a bit about the capturing and processing of the double shadow thing.
Yeah, well, that'd be great.
But it can wait until after Reg does his thing if you like. Why don't you do your thing first, Reg?
Whatever, if you're more comfortable with that. I'm going to try and share the screen then, if that's okay, Chris.
Yeah, please do, Reg.
First of all, I want to confess that let's see here. I really don't belong on this call tonight because I never entered the password when I joined up. I don't know if everyone else did, so.
Nope.
Well, if you use the link, it works fine.
It did it automatically.
It does that. Okay, well, I just thought that I might be penalized or something like that, but no.
Out, you go.
Yeah. At any rate, I can just start with some stuff, but I had one of my black hole adventures this time and started looking at all sorts of weird stuff. So I'm just going to see, maybe if I go up big. First of all, in the Astro Cafe, thanks, Joe, for setting it up. And Joe picked up the Lagoon and Trifid Nebula. A beautiful shot by Dan Posey. And Dan's been going out to Machosen and he's been getting wonderful results. He had a spectacular result the previous week as well. He's surely getting a lot of lovely images from his setup, which is pretty modest. A small lens and his unguided Skyguider Pro for my Optron is really wonderful work. And I don't think I'm going to say too much about Moon Shadows on Jupiter by John. I just absolutely love this sequence, though. Great work, John. But I imagine you'll go back to that, so I'm going to skip over that. And then we have a poem. A wonderful bird is the pelican. His beak can hold more than his belly can. He can hold in his beak enough food for a week, and I'll be darned if I know the hell he can. So that was a contribution from Doug McDonald, a really nice image of the Pelican Nebula that he got.
Gorgeous.
Yes, very nice.
And,
very nice.
It was only 8 hours of narrow band exposure. With
He
his
and
5-inch
Dan are both doing
refractor.
pretty wonderful stuff.
Yeah,
you're not kidding.
So that's great. So then I got from Karoon, it's the final UVic open house of the summer, and it's a blockbuster. And this was in the thing. What happens when the largest objects in the universe go face to face? Sounds like a promotion for some sort of wrestling match or something like that. But a PhD candidate from UVic, Mallory Thorpe, is going to be giving a presentation on cosmic collisions and everything like that. And it looks like a real good talk. So that's this Wednesday at 7:30, and here's the link for it, and the password is embedded in it. So, but that got me going on something here. And the previous week I had talked about a thing called the Robotic Telescope Editing Contest. And for August, I looked under the hood and found that the target this month is M82. And so I dug into a little bit about M82. And basically, if you go to this link here, you can download 8 hours of LRGB data and 7.5 hours of hydrogen alpha data taken with our RASC remote telescope down in California. And so they want people to take this data, image it, and they're going to have a contest who they think has the most pleasing image out of it. And we only have to the end of the month. And one thing to remember is check it out. Remember, the contest is only in Canada. It is not, people south of the border need not apply. So we're an exclusive group there. And so what I did was I looked into a little bit more. So if you click on this link, it takes you to this page here, the introduction, introducing the telescope editing contest. And they mentioned that it's Messier 82, or sometimes called the Cigar Galaxy. And so I didn't know that much about the Cigar Galaxy, but if you want to get access to the stuff, you click on this, and that will take you to a web page where you can just download all the images. And I don't have it blowing up here, but it's really quite impressive the amount of data you can get there. So even a person who does not have a telescope does not need to be a spectator. They can be a participant. So,
yep.
So then I clicked on M82 in Wikipedia, and M82 is often grouped together with a thing called M81. And talking about these collisions, that is going to be the talk of Mallory Thorpe on Wednesday. The M82 is relatively close by. It's 12 million light years away, so it's about 5 times farther than Andromeda, and it's what's classified as a starburst galaxy, and it is 5 times more luminous than the whole Milky Way, and the center is 100 times more luminous than our galaxy center. And it's all due to this starburst activity, and the starburst activity was being triggered by an interaction with the neighboring galaxy M81. So M81, you can see here is here, absolutely stunningly beautiful galaxy, and here's the cigar nearby. So the interaction of these two has really stimulated stuff. So this is quite often called Bode's galaxy. So that says, well, who is Bode? And he is a German astronomer. For 39 years, he was the head of the German, the Berlin group in astronomy. And he was famous for a thing called the Titius-Bode law. Actually, this other fellow actually figured out a relationship between the orbits and radiuses of the planets extending out to Uranus that fit this model quite well. But Bode also was a wonderful person to create star maps, and he did a whole pile of star maps where he gathered all these observations together. And when Uranus was discovered, he had had a bunch of observations that he went and historically went and found from old atlases, and one was done from one of the in the 1600s by Flammery, I forget his name, a British astronomer royal. He used all of these bad observations to figure out the orbit of Uranus. And he was also the person who named Uranus. It was when Herschel discovered Uranus, he called it after King George. And after that, it didn't become that popular. So the way it works is Saturn is the father of Jupiter, which I didn't know. Well, Uranus is the father of Saturn. So it's a kind of like a family tree out there. So I thought that was interesting. At any rate, you start and you look under a rock and you find all of these interesting things. So I carry on. So the other thing is that I've been getting stuff on the internet. It's called What's Happening at the RASC. And I just wonder if anybody else is getting this as well. How many people are getting it? Just shout out if you get this.
Yep, I get it.
Yep, I'm getting it now.
Yeah, I get it every week.
Is anybody not getting it?
Margie.
I don't think I get it.
Okay, well, I don't know how I started getting it, but what I've done is I sent a note back east and tell them how I can get other people signed up for this. So I might report back on it. But I wanted to mention something coming up on August 28th, the speaker series. It's called Hawaiian Nights, a personal journey from Vancouver Island to Mauna Kea with Cam Whipper. Now, Cam is a good pal of Janine McGilvery in Nanaimo, and he's got interested in astronomy, and he's basically an observer up there, and he's going to give a talk on his perspective as being a telescope operator in Hawaii. And he did a fair amount of time up in the James Clerk Maxwell telescope up at height, and it should be an interesting show. So I might put this link onto our website where you can click here to register for Hawaiian Night. So going back, I'll go back to our other stuff here. So then there's a thing that Sid mentioned about hands-on astronomy conference, and this is kind of funny because Sid, our local education evangelist, is very keen, and he's been watching this thing. It's kind of worldwide. needs to be getting up at 4 in the morning to watch this conference. Well, the good news is you can find out about the program for the conference here. And if you're lazy, you can click on this. Eventually, they'll show all of the main presentations on YouTube. So I'll just put that out there for you if you want to follow it out. And the main goal is education and astronomy. So it should be interesting. And I think it's all set in Europe. That's where the main stuff is. And that's why the show starts at 11 Zulu, which is 4 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And then our secret agent from Edmonton, Dave Robinson, gave us these beautiful images from the Edmonton RASCals on the deep sky images. And I don't know what's going on here, but I tell you, they all got a biological connection. I don't know if this is just out of respect for Dorothy or what, but the first one is the Elephant Trunk Nebula. And I have no imagination. I can't see any elephant trunk in that. Can anybody help me out?
Depends where it is.
I guess nobody can see it. It might be here. Or
That's
is
it.
This thing is it?
That's it.
I don't see any elephant there, but I guess I just don't have the right stuff. But one thing that they do have down here, this is Arnold Rivera, and Arnold has that wonderful RASA 8-inch camera that he's using at Edmonton, and he's having a lot of fun with it. But this is Herschel's Garnet Star. It's this red supergiant, one of the largest stars known. And its diameter is estimated to be larger than Saturn's orbit. So that's pretty neat. So there's the elephant's trunk, and this is the lobster claw. Now I can see a lobster claw there, so I'm quite pleased with myself that I could sort of see that one. At any rate, he's got a beautiful shot there. And this is a kind of a ring nebula type system surrounding, I guess the center star is there. Then he also has this one, which I think he's calling it the Flying Bat Nebula. Can anybody relate to that? Are those the wings of the bat, or have I got, is the bat up here? Has anybody got any theories on that one?
We're as confused as you are.
Oh, thanks. It's kind of like one of those ink blot tests, I think, is this sort of thing. But
I used to work on bats, and I still don't recognize it.
oh, thank you, Dorothy. You made you feel a lot better, so that's good. And down here, another Edmonton RASCal, Larry Wood from Caroline, took this nice image of M82 down here and the Bubble Nebula. It was featured in a previous shot as well. That's a lovely image. And then I don't think Nelson's on here, but this is M13. I'm sorry if he misses that, but that's a lovely globular cluster. And finally, we have from Alistair Link a very nice shot. He says he's channeling some E.E. Barnard, Barnard was a guy who was really keen on dark nebulas. And he doesn't even confess where this is. He says it's not Sagittarius or a Scutum. So I don't know exactly what we're looking at there, but I guess it's a portion of the Milky Way. Maybe somebody who's more familiar with the sky knows where that is. They can jump in if they want to. And okay, so the next thing is, some weeks back we talked about Starlink and other.
Miles says it's the Pipe Nebula.
The pike?
Pipe, like pipe smoke, smoking a pipe.
Well, yeah. Congratulations.
I don't know. I've seen diagrams, but I doesn't, or pictures.
It's also part of the horse.
Part of the horse. Oh yes, it's part of the horse. That's yeah, and you can see that actually.
Is there a one near the constellation of Scorpius as well?
Yeah, where is it? It is down.
It's in Sagittarius.
It's in Sagittarius.
It's a large Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
And the large Sagittarius star cloud, according to the guru sitting behind me.
Well, I'm amazed. Thanks very much for your input, Miles. I really pretty appreciate that. And finally, there's a press briefing on Starlink and other mega constellation. This is to do with the Starlink satellites that are being launched at great regularity, 60 at a time. And this is going to take place at Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. If anybody wants to listen in, there's a YouTube live screening, and Jim Hesser relayed this to me. But he actually attended the main meeting for this, and so it might be interesting to see what their findings are on this particular Starlink galaxy. And they call it the SatCon thing, and they've got some sort of satellite constellations. LEO stands for low Earth orbit satellites. So that's what that all means. There's nothing to do with the constellation Leo. So there you go. And with that, I think I'm going to surrender my screen and turn it back to you, Chris.
I have a question.
Yeah, Randy, go ahead.
I was out in the middle of the night, one of the nights last week, and I saw a string of 8 satellites, all on exactly the same orbit, all perfectly spaced. Is that one of these mega constellations?
That would be probably the latest launching of the Starlinks. And they launched them a couple of weeks ago now. I don't have the exact date for that. Yeah.
And it takes them a while to spread out, apparently. So right after launch, they're all on a stream, but they do spread out.
Yeah.
I guess the big issue is they're going to, if they launch them all, be what, literally thousands of these things all over the place. So.
Well, the first group is 12,000, and they've applied and actually got approval to put up another 30,000. So we're looking at 42,000 from that group. And then there's other people who also wants to launch constellations, but probably not to the same density.
They are trying to put little sunshades on the individual satellites so that they're not so shiny, apparently.
That might work. They've got a couple of test ones up there now they're evaluating, and they might have some feedback on that on this report tomorrow. The other issue is that because they don't radiate light, they do radiate heat, and that'll mess up some infrared astronomers. So it's a problem. And it also very much complicates the people who are trying to discover near-Earth objects, not these satellites, but other things that are zooming towards the Earth, because of the time in which they're best seen is right when these satellites are very visible. So.
Interesting. Yeah, I see
It's
Bill.
also going to immensely complicate trying.
Go ahead, Dave. Okay, I think you're muted. Oh, there you are.
It's going to make it very difficult for people to launch space missions through that web of satellites that's up there. You have to time things absolutely perfectly. And how much space junk are they going to leave behind?
They've already had to divert some satellites.
Future space missions are going to be much, much more complicated to get up. Yeah.
I just noticed that Bill appears to have joined us from maybe Pearson. I can see his large dot there. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah, I'm at Pearson. I'm just setting up in the light as opposed to waiting till it gets dark.
Very nice. And what are you looking for this evening?
Well, if I can get it soon enough, I can get the Comet. And I want to have another look. The other night I was out here and I looked at Campbell's hydrogen star, which is in Cygnus. And it's a planetary nebula that's red. And I could see for the first time the other night the redness to it. But that was putting a lot of power on it. like the central star shows white, but there's this kind of really faint halo of red around it. But I was at 720 times. It was cool though.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that I should have probably had an H beta filter on, because it's of the line emission coming off of it. So when I was looking it up later, I found out that it actually responds well to a H beta filter. So I'm going to try that tonight.
You're going to try flashing your eyes with the cell phone?
No.
So Bill, what time will you have to have the Comet in line?
Oh,
in
as
sight?
soon as it gets dark, because here it heads into a tree. See, it's right there. When it gets dark, it's right there going that way. So it's a very, very limited time span that I have to get it.
Okay, good deal.
But you really want to win Nathan's competition.
Well, I was communicating with a friend who looked at it the other night from the East Coast, and he said he saw it in like 42 millimeter binoculars. So, yeah.
Can't you
It's
just take
possible.
some binoculars
just,
around the corner?
It's just, well, yeah, I can, but I want to have a look at it with the big scope, because that's where I've been doing all the sketches with the 20-inch. So although the moon will be like right there too, right? The moon is just right there. And the comet is really just probably about 30 degrees from it. So it's still seeing how it's changed in sort of a real fashion, because I was observing it around this moon phase last month.
What's its nominal brightness now, Bill?
It's in the 9th magnitude, so it's still pretty bright. I mean, a week ago when I saw it, it was about a week ago, it was still, then I looked at it with just binoculars, and then I looked at M51, and it showed brighter than 51.
What website are you getting the brightnesses from? I'm
just saying, Stellarium is giving me a magnitude, and it sort of correlated when I looked at that, and then I looked at the magnitude for M51, because they looked sort of almost the same size too.
I gave up
the
too
magnitude
soon.
difference was about what I was seeing.
Sky Live says it's at 14 now.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it's that faint. I mean, if you could see it in 42 millimeter, like,
well, yeah, that's it.
Probably birding binoculars.
Huh.
Because I think he said there were 8x42s or something like that, which sounds like a birding binocular to me.
Yeah, if they're very good, they have a magnitude limit up around 9, I believe. I looked that up.
Yeah, but it's not going to go to 14.
But, yeah, so that's why when I thought it was...
You need an 8-inch scope to go. No, because a week ago I was seeing it in my 40 millimeter binoculars.
Yeah, okay.
Because I did that. I had the 15x70s, and then I went to my 10x50s, and then I went to my 10x40s, and it still was showing really easily.
So don't trust official looking websites necessarily when you're looking.
The Comet Observation Database, which is showing it the whole curve very accurately. There are values between 8 and 9.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was seeing a week ago.
Yeah, that's what it's moving down, but it's still well above and brighter than 10.
Yeah, you just have to sort of know where to find it.
Yeah, well,
it's not right beside a bright object like a galaxy or something.
Yeah,
because then I could just put the go-to on my scope to find the closest object.
I was using a website someone sent, I can't remember who it was, that gives the exact coordinates, and they matched up very well. That's the way I found it.
Yeah.
As long as I could track it from Arbutus Cove, but it's over the hill now from there. But
yeah.
So
Very cool to have Bill reporting from the field, you know.
Yeah.
That's one advantage of having Zoom because we've had Sean
That's
on
pretty
through.
cool.
Well, it's nice that they haven't turned the Wi-Fi off out here because I'm on the student Wi-Fi and there are no students here. They just haven't turned it off.
Good for
It's
you.
working quite well.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Well, the modem is inside the building that I'm really just a few feet away from.
Good for you. Bill Weir reporting from Pearson College, right?
The Godin-Newton Observatory.
Breaking news.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Well, have fun out there this evening, and hopefully we can tell us about it at a future.
And there's a nice fog bank over the Olympic Peninsula. That should keep the lights from Port Angeles down too. That's what I always hope for.
Yeah.
It'll help with the moon. But the moon sets around 11:30 or something like that.
Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much. John, did you want to say any more?
I can do that. Before I start, I just have to tell you, it's been quite a week and a bit for me. I didn't know what I was getting into when I started this business of trying to process the images from the double shadow crossing of Jupiter. So at any rate, I had a bit of a break toward the end of last week when I had to get eye surgery. So I could take a break from doing the processing. And I just want to show you before I do anything else that the eye surgery was done on my left eye for a cataract, and it worked.
There you go.
I no longer need the lens in the left eye.
Wow.
And I'm kind of glad about that. And just a comment for Dorothy and Bill and those other people who are so good at and Diane, of course, at finding things by eye in the scopes. I've had difficulty with it. I hadn't really realized the extent to which my eyes were holding me up. My vision was really quite badly deteriorated, and I hadn't really realized it because it comes on kind of slowly. And it's startling to see how good my left eye is now compared to the right one. So maybe I'll be able to see things through binoculars and telescopes better than I could.
You'll probably also notice a color shift.
Yeah, oh, there's a color shift as well, for sure.
Yeah, much more blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the scary things was, though, that I don't know if any of you have been through this and done this, but during in the middle of the night after the day I got it done, I got up to go to the can, as old men do, and my gosh, I looked out the window and every bright light that I could see had a ring of stars around it. Quite a big ring of stars. I thought, oh my God, what's he done? He's wrecked my vision.
No.
Of course, it was just that the eye was still dilated, and everything settled down. By noon the next day, I started to see quite well.
Yeah,
anyway, that's not what I was going to share. I'm going to share.
I was worried about that when I had my cataracts done, and I actually conned the surgeon into putting a larger lens so that you wouldn't get that edge refraction off the implanted
Oh,
lens.
really?
Your eye pupil widely dilated.
Yeah. Well, it settled out in any case, Dave, for me.
I got a 6mm lens
Right
instead
now.
of a 5.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to share the
Good.
screen.
Yeah.
And what I want to show you is on this one. And did that work? I don't see it shared.
We can see the
See it yet?
window that's showing the double shadow directory, I guess.
Can you see the
Now is a PowerPoint, I believe?
PowerPoint now?
Yeah, yeah, that's PowerPoint.
Good enough. So this is about the capturing and processing of the moon shadows on Jupiter that occurred the evening of August the 14th, our time. It was the morning of August the 15th, UTC time, which turns out to be important in the processing. Capturing it took just about the length of time it took for the shadows to cross the planet. In other words, a couple of hours. And it was a little bit intense because I needed to take quite a few video clips. I ended up taking 65,000 frame clips. 60 turned out to be usable. And that was through red, green, and blue filters. So it boils down to 20. I could get 20 images out of it, colored images of red, green, blue. And I should just say that the optics was my new SCT. It's an Edge 8-inch. And I've never been very much a fan of SCTs, but I have to say this one actually is very nice. When I've got it on high magnification with a TeleVue 2.5 times power mate, I can actually, focus on a planet that is filling the screen, and I don't lose it when I go and do the focusing. It moves a little bit, but it doesn't move very much. It's pretty good. So I'm fairly pleased with it. That was one thing that always bugged me about SCTs. Because the mirror moved, you'd get things bouncing all over in high magnification. And it was done with a little video camera using frames just 480 by, so let's see, 640 by 480 pixels I was using. It has more pixels than that, but that's all I was using. The processing took about 40 hours, took about 40 hours over 8 days. As I say, I got a break to go to the hospital and get my eye fixed. So I stacked the best 30% of each clip in Astro Stackered, and I ended up with 60 TIFF files, or 20 sets. They were sharpened in Registrax, and you can read all the rest of the stuff, equalize the histograms. Then I used this thing called WinJupos, which creates an image measurement file that actually figures out exactly where the planet is in its rotational phase. And I was able to use those to make 20 RGB images. And after enhancing those and adjusting the colors a little bit and whatnot, I got what you'll see next. So Reg showed this picture. The 3 images were captured near the beginning, the middle, and the end of the double shadow. These are 3 of the 20 images that I ended up to make a video out of. And the reason I want to show them first is that you can see some neat things in them. First of all, this is the moon Ganymede, and that's its shadow. And this is the moon Io right there. Little white spot on the planet, and that's its shadow. And as the thing progressed, Ganymede is moving away and its shadow's moving across a little bit. And Io's right here. And then you can see Io pop out. When you watch the video, you'll see Io pop out. Now, when I first looked at this, when I first processed it and looked at it, I just about flipped, because when Io popped out from behind from in front of the planet, it was in front, all of a sudden there were 3 Eos, a red, green, and a blue one. And if you think about it, you'll realize why that must have been true. I had done the derotation, like in the time it takes between taking the red, the green, and the blue video clips, the planet is turning. So this WinJupos thing derotated the planet, but in doing so, it moved the moons, which do not go around at the same rate the planet does, of course. The orbital period is much slower than that. So I ended up having to add the moons in separately from just one of the color channels. I used the green one to get the moons. And that's the way it ended up the way it is. The other thing that's kind of interesting, at least it is to me, the seeing wasn't the greatest that night, but it wasn't too bad because Io here, and you can see it coming out here, is about 1.2 arc seconds, and Ganymede is bigger, about 1.75, and it's pretty clear from the picture that you can see the difference in size. So the resolution I'm getting isn't all that bad. Jupiter itself was just about at opposition, so it's pretty big, 47.6 arc seconds according to our Bible, the Observer's Handbook. So this next thing is the video that I made. It goes by a little bit fast, I'm afraid, because there's only 20 frames, but I can run it a couple of times if you need that. I don't know if you saw it coming out at the end, but the highlight for me is watching Io come out at the end. You can see it getting close and then coming out. It's kind of neat.
Very cool.
It brightens up a little bit as it gets close to the limb. Okay, I'll just go on. After I did this, and this will, I have to explain this a little bit. Unlike a lot of you guys, I actually don't like looking on the web to find out how to do things. It takes the fun out of it for me if I have to get somebody to show me how to do something. But I was curious because there's a fellow who calls himself the London astronomer. His name is Bruce Hutchison. And he's actually won awards for his planetary images. And he has really quite a nice website. And I didn't know this before, but I looked at it after I'd done my processing, and I discovered that he has a workflow that's almost identical to what I worked out by trial and error. And that kind of pleased me a bit because he does much nicer work than I do. The main difference is that he captured, I don't know if he's ever done the shadows the way I did. I didn't have enough time to do what he does, but he captures an infrared image and he uses that as the luminance to get a sharper result when he's just doing an image, you know, a single image of the planet. And I've done that before, but I haven't really put a lot of effort into it, but I'll try it some more. He also usually takes several, whoops, sorry, I went backwards. He takes several sets with the RGB and IR filters to get a single image. I didn't have time to do that in the transit event because I would have wasted all my time getting a single image. But that was kind of interesting. And if you're interested in that, in learning about planetary imaging, that's one site that perhaps is worth going to. So Mars is next. I just made a little list of the planets. I did this back in the spring, seeing where they were and how big they were and so on, and how high up in the sky this summer. And right now we're getting toward the end of August. Jupiter's just gone through its transit, and Saturn is still rising, and we'll get to its, I guess it's past its biggest size, but it'll get to the transit point when it's highest in early September. And then Mars is coming along. I'm looking forward to that. It will get to a pretty good size, 22.6 arc seconds in October. And then it gets even a little higher in early November. So that'll be a good time to be trying to image it. And then there's Uranus and Neptune too. They're quite small. They're not much bigger than the moons of Jupiter, you know. So they are a bit bigger, but not that much. Anyway, keep my fingers crossed for good seeing. Wish me luck. And thank you very much.
Good luck.
Let me share this now.
That was wonderful,
Thank you.
John.
Awesome,
Beautiful
John. Good
pictures.
Great.
John, could I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you debated the difference between your multi-filter technique and just using a one-shot?
Well, it's a good question because when I saw the fact that, you know, by doing this derotation, I mess up the moons, a one-shot color might have been the right way to get this one. I don't know. It's a little more work.
You're probably getting a sharper result by doing what you're doing.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, to get really sharp images of the planet, I think you're better off to have the monochrome camera doing, you know, RGB and whatever else, UV, IR filters. I've got all of them.
Yeah, and actually at that focal ratio, you want something really, really sensitive, so you need the mono for
That's
that.
correct. Yeah. Incidentally, it's interesting. My camera's one of the early ZWO cameras, and it's just quite a small one. This so-called London astronomer, who's quite good at it, he uses exactly the same camera. So maybe that's a good thing, or maybe we're both wrong. Don't know.
Great, thanks.
Does anybody have anything else for this evening?
I should just tell you, for those of you who are waiting for the breathless announcement, but TravelQuest just canceled their Wonders of Chile total eclipse trip in December and offered to return all the money. So kind of too bad, but who wanted to go to Chile, which has both riots and COVID, and then take 4 internal flights on a bankrupt airline? Not me. Cheers.
Good choice. Good choice. Stay
I'm
home.
I'm glad they made it.
You can do your tourist thing here. My daughter is in town for a few days, so we took advantage of low numbers to take the whale watching tour out on yesterday. And out well past Souk, we saw lots of whales, in excess of 30 humpbacks. They were in groups as big as 5, 3, 2. It was absolutely spectacular day. And they only had like 30 people on the big boat, so it was really quite comfortable.
Were you outside on that boat, Dave?
Yeah, we were inside for a bit while they were getting to where the whales were, and then as soon as we got out to where the whales were, we were all outside. Yeah.
Lucky you, David.
Yeah, when we first got out, there was a group of 5 that were repeatedly coming up and blowing, and then watching the tails come up was really quick. My daughter had my 200mm lens on the Canon, and she got some really good shots of the tails coming up. It was a great day.
Which company did you use?
Prince of Wales, the big catamaran. Very comfortable ride.
Prince of Wales, okay.
Yeah,
okay. All right.
Okay, well, I guess that's it for this evening. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll have another one next week. And then I think the Monday after that's Labor Day, so we'll take a break. And then we're looking at potentially having our monthly meeting the week after that, but we'll have to see. I don't know if Reg, if we're any further along on that.
Yeah, Phil Groff is going to be at the Monday, the 14th of September meeting, and he is the CEO.
Executive director.
Executive director of RASC. So that should be a great meeting. So we're fortunate that, and I just like to Thank you for hosting it, Chris. And also congratulations, Randy, for your 2000. That's an amazing thing you're on. So.
That's what I say. We need an Enkin's Galaxy now.
Thank you very much.
Good night, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Good night.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.